Among the various commitments from governments and business at the COP26 this past week, an unspoken truth remains. Nobody, anywhere, wants the power to run out or to be so prohibitively expensive that it ruins key businesses or indeed diminishes our quality of life. Now, while seeking net zero emissions, the world must also hope that technological breakthroughs come quickly enough to avert the impact of the world moving away from fossil fuels. The man who's responsible for keeping the lights on for most of Australia is the Chief Executive of the Australian Energy Market Operator, Daniel Westerman, who joins me now. Daniel, many thanks for your time. I just want to start by asking, does a commitment to net zero by 2050 intimidate you in any way, trying to keep the electricity grid stable in the southern and eastern states, eventually without coal-fired power stations?
Australia is already well on the way to transitioning our power sector. What we're seeing already is planning for the exit of our traditional thermal generators and this massive investment in renewable generators, which are frankly the lowest cost source of new energy for consumers. And what we as the Australian Energy Market Operator are doing is facilitating that transition.
OK, so in a recent reliability outlook, though, you said that without additional tools, AEMO, your organisation, may no longer be able to operate the grid securely at all times from 2025. And that was largely as a result of a lack of security services from demand when the grid is low. What exactly does that mean?
Well, Australians have embraced rooftop solar. In fact, as your viewers look out across their neighbourhood, probably 1 in 3 households, on average across Australia, have rooftop solar on their roof. And at times, that rooftop solar is sort of flooding the grid with these low-cost electrons. It's our job to keep the system secure, safe and reliable. And as these new low-cost electrons flood the system, we do need more tools and newer tools to be able to manage the security of the grid. The Energy Security Board have recently launched a DER roadmap, and that's helpful. That'll get us quite a way there. But this is a journey that we'll need to continue to navigate over the years ahead.
OK, so does that actually mean that right now, and it's because of voltage movements and changes in the system, that you still need some source of stability in the system? So even though you might be able to get to 70% coming from renewables or even higher potentially, you still need something else there to be able to even out the voltages to make certain that the grid is secure. Is that pretty much what it's saying?
Well, what we're seeing is through this enormous investment in renewable energy, and when you look back, in the last decade, $9 in every 10 has been in renewable energy. What we're seeing is more and more of these low-cost electrons flooding the system. And our job as the energy market operator is to maintain that reliable and secure system. In South Australia last weekend, we had a period where 87% of demand, of people's demand, was met by rooftop solar. And we do have many tools to be able to make sure that the grid is safe, secure and reliable through those periods. And what we need to do is to keep evolving that toolkit as we head towards a time when, frankly, by 2025, there'll be periods where all of Australia's electricity demand is able to be met by renewable energy.
OK, so then take me to what I hear from business on a regular basis. I'm thinking about people who run steel mills and aluminium smelters, brickworks and all that type of thing, saying that they need to have that electricity on the whole time. They're worried about not having dispatchable power. It's a situation where, of course, a renewable can come and go depending on the weather. It's the dispatchable power that's still the key here in Australia. Is that the reason why you still need gas-fired power stations when eventually the coal-fired generation does cease? Or you need some different technology to that's being used today?
Yeah, and look, this enormous transition of Australia's electricity sector is a transition from the traditional thermal generators that have served us well in the past. As they retire, they're being replaced by what we call firmed renewables. That is the lowest cost source of new power for consumers. In our recent integrated system plan, so that's the sort of roadmap for Australia's energy system, we said that Australia needs 26 gigawatts of renewable power and between 6 and 19 gigawatts of what you just call dispatchable power. And for us, that is really important. It's to make sure that the power is there when we need it. And that dispatchable power can come from various different technologies, from hydro, batteries, and yes, gas will play an important role.
And is there any other, I mean, Australia doesn't have nuclear, overseas countries have nuclear, of course, and that's a part of the debate that has been going on for a long time. But without that technology, is there another leap step that's required if Australia is to meet its emissions targets by 2050?
Oh, look, we see Australia's energy system is unfolding in a way that is safe, secure and reliable. We don't see that we need nuclear from a base load or a system security perspective. So from an engineering perspective, it's not really required. When you look at the CSIRO's sort of cost projections, it's also quite an expensive technology. I guess not to mention the fact that it's not legal under today's law. But what we do see is we are planning for the future. For a safe, secure, reliable energy system that is benefiting all Australians. And there's obviously the generation side of that I've talked about, but there's also transmission. To make the most of Australia's geographic resources and the sun and the wind, we do need additional investment in transmission to be able to ensure the best outcomes for all Australians.
Daniel Westerman, I appreciate your time on the program today.
Thank you very much.